Good morning. It's Leanne Peters here, and I'm sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. This is our personal healing event for some of my patrons for August 2023. So thank you for your support. I've got the washing machine in the background, so if it sounds like something's taking off, it's my washing machine. It should be finished in a couple of minutes. So welcome. I'll just put my water down, get myself together here. I have 5 people on the healing list today, and I've popped your name in this little bowl, so I'll grab your name out of there shortly. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be connecting with each person on the healing list today for some personal healing time for around 10 minutes. So I'll pull the person's name I'll pull your name if you're on the list. I'll pull you out of the pot and then I'll tune in to you. So as I'm tuning in at the beginning and the end, I'll be pulling a healing energy card that just sort of, it's probably a little bit of a ritual thing that I do now where I feel like it helps me start the connection and also is a part of like sealing or stopping the connection as well, so I can focus on someone else. It's really important to me that I have strict boundaries. Hi Dan. I have strict boundaries so that I am just tuning in when I choose to and not at all hours of the day, because I've got a life to live, as we all do. So I don't want the energies invading my space. So I have very clear boundaries up. So the way I tune in might sound a little weird, but it works for me, is that I know the configuration of my energy and how I usually feel in my body. I know that really, really well. So as I'm tuning into people, and maybe tuning into you if you're on my list today, I start feeling different things happening in my body that I don't usually feel. Hi Kathleen, welcome. So over the years I've worked out and worked on refining that interpretation of those energies. So I feel energy primarily in my body. Hi Snake again. And I also receive visions and senses about what I might be feeling. So this is specific healing time for people on my healing list. 5 people on the healing list today. Now, if you're not on the healing list or you're waiting for your turn, then I'm sure you've been led here for a reason. So what I would be doing if I was waiting for my name to come out, or if I wasn't on the list today, I'd be trusting I'm here for a reason, for however long you can be here or however long you need to be. And I'd be listening not only with my ears but with my heart and with my body, and seeing and really taking note of the things that really stand out as personal for me. So you might find it's no accident that you happen to be here right now. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I started doing it on internet radio years and years ago, like 13 years ago. And it's quite uncanny how the guidance and the connections that I have with someone can actually also resonate with 5 other people. So don't discount the connections just because it's for specific people. I'm sure that you've been led here for a specific reason. So we'll see. You'll see what that is. I feel like this is very zoomed in. Maybe I just take everything back a little bit. And okay, let's see who's first on the list today. So first on the list is this person, which is Jane Corlett. Jane, please take a nice big breath. And if you're open to receiving some guidance and you're not Jane, then I'd also take a nice big breath too and see what comes up for you in this. So Jane, nice big breath please, and let's see which healing energy card you need. Now, as I'm connecting and tuning in with people too, I may have my eyes closed or be looking away. It's just a way it helps me connect. All I'm looking as I look up is actually see myself, and I try and hone in on the camera spot there. But it's a bit distracting if I'm trying to tune into someone and bring the energy through as clearly as I can. So that's just how I do these connections. Okay, Jane, nice big breath. Your best healing energy card as we start your connection today. is this from deck 1. It's the abundance card. Now that's really funny because when I held up the cards before and I said I'll use my healing energy cards, this card was on the back. So I've already seen this card, and in fact it's the only card I've seen now twice. So it's the abundance card, card 39. This is a really good card. So this is talking about abundance, prosperity, an increase in finances or good financial flow at this time. It really talks about that openness to receive or align yourself with the abundance that's available to you. So sort of the counter to this card is being closed and not noticing or even pushing away the abundance that's potentially available. But this is showing an openness and an abundance that's flowing. Let's take off my slippers because it's getting warm now as the energy's moving. Okay, Jane, nice big breath. Okay, so the first thing I'm picking up in your energy, Jane, is I'm being drawn to your lower back. And there's a slight push feeling that's sort of in the center of your lower back, but it pushes across just a little bit as well. So it's sort of pushing in and pushing across. And it feels to me like it's trying to push you forward, because I feel this forward pull in your body as I connect in with this energy, almost like it's a hand or a couple of hands that are behind your lower back and just pushing you forward. It's quite a gentle push really, but it is a clear forward movement. Now the area here is the back of your sacral chakra, which is at the just below your navel. That's your emotional center. So at the front it's below your navel, but it's in a zone that goes around your body. So from your navel to your pubic area and all the way around, so including your hips and around to your lower back. So the energy is usually in the back of the body, connect with the past, that's connected with this particular center. So we're looking at emotional energy from the past that is trying to push you forward. And it does feel like that energy is trying to push you forward. And I feel like it's motivation from the past and past things that have perhaps happened to you or past things that have occurred that you don't want to happen again. There is this sort of like, this is your motivation, that you don't want to go down that past track again, or have that past thing happen. Now, it could be something you've observed in the past from others, but I kind of get this feeling that this is something you've experienced directly. So something from the past that you've had emotional tie to, that's probably something that happened. It could be something that failed, for example, that you've learned from, and then you're now wanting to use that as a motivation to push you forward. And it does feel like this is coming very strongly as this kind of failure or whatever this is connected with, as a motivation for forward movement. And it wants to push you straight into this abundance card that's here, sitting here right in front of me. And I can feel this push in your lower back that wants to push you into abundance. So it does feel like the rest of your body's not got the memo or something, because it does feel like the rest of your body's a little bit behind with this push. So it's kind of a strange feeling, like your lower back, that lower part of your back is pushing forward and the rest of your body's kind of still in its position. It's not pushing forward with that. So what I would like to do now is get the rest of your body on board, so you can get every part of your being on track and aligned with that push that wants to push you forward into the abundance, into the unknown, into the new beginnings, and into the something that feels very bright and new and like it's full of opportunities. So how are we going to do that? So I can feel this sort of tilt. So as I connect with your body, it's like a tilt forward or a push forward there at your lower back. And I want to just move down from your lower back down the rest of your body now. So align your tailbone, bring your tailbone forward, which then brings your legs forward. So bring your hips forward, your legs, and your feet take a step forward too, to align with where your lower back, where your sacral chakra has pushed you to, just like a small step forward. So your lower part now, from your lower back down, is aligned with where your lower back has pushed you to. And now we go up. So we're going up your spine. So we're moving up to the back of your solar plexus chakra and just gently pushing that just slightly forward so it aligns with your sacral chakra, your lower back there. And then up to your heart and just gently pushing your heart forward. Now, at your heart there is resistance, because I feel like everything else has moved very easily. At your heart, it feels almost like your heart is pushing against this and wants to push back on the push forward, which is interesting. So you might find, even though you have this forward push, there might be a part of you that's quite resisting this, and it could be a part, what I'm feeling is that it's a part most likely aligned or anchored in your heart. So your heart this is usually things that are very personal, probably intimate things as well, like intimate moments and situations. It doesn't have to be sexual. Like intimacy is, I mean, it can be sexual, but there's a lot more under the umbrella of intimacy than it purely being a sexual thing. But there's something very intimate, something very close to your heart that feels like it's resisting this. And why is it resisting? Maybe it's your sensible, rational side that's hesitant in trying something new now, because it does feel like that push from your sacral chakra, from your lower back. It does feel like it wants to push you into something new. Maybe you're thinking you're done with that. Maybe there's a part of you that thinks that you don't really want to try something new right now. So there's something probably, and it's probably connected with something quite personal to you, something that sits very deep in your heart. But as I'm talking about this, there's something that's already softening in your heart. And I can feel, instead of this push back on the push forward, I feel like this push back, this sort of resistance is, or it could even be a fear. I feel already that it's starting to soften. So as it's softening, I can push. I've got a little bit of traction or a slight little bit of resistance there, but I can push more than before. It's not kind of, like a arm wrestle where the if the arms are strong, they're going to sort of just be at that stagnant spot in the middle. But if you can push against, you still have a little bit of resistance, and you can sort of succeed with that push forward. That's how it feels. So push forward now your heart, but just be aware there is a bit of resistance there, which is normal when we're stepping into something new as well. And your throat chakra, I'm just using my 2 fingers here just to gently push your neck, the back of your throat chakra forward to align with your sacral chakra and that step forward that it's made. And then at the base of your skull, which is the back of your third eye chakra, which comes down at an angle from the third eye down to the base of the skull, and just pushing and pulling that forward with my 3 fingers here. And your crown chakra aligns with that anyway, because it's aligned with your base chakra at your tailbone. So now you're in sort of like you've stepped forward now, like energetically you're forward a bit more than you were before. And I feel like you're here forward on the edge, like almost on the edge of a cliff, on the tip of your toes, and ready to take the plunge and ready to step into something new. There is nothing now in your way. I feel your hips are ready. Your hips are about direction and forward movement, and your hips feel like they're almost tingly with anticipation of stepping out and stepping into something new. So it feels like you're ready. You're ready now here on the edge of this cliff, on the tips of your toes, the edge here of the unknown, as you're preparing to step forward into something new. So let's grab a card and see what this wants to add to this, Jane, to finish off. So the best card to add here is, let's go with this one from Healing Energy Cards Deck 2, and it's card 90. And this is a bit confronting. I mean, it's pretty direct, confronting card here. Card 90, tell the truth. And it says, be clear and honest. Speak up. Use your voice. Don't speak on behalf of others. Speak for yourself. No excuses. Sing throat chakra, let it out and express yourself. So the next step for you might be to really communicate, and perhaps firstly communicate with yourself and get clear within yourself about what it is that you're stepping into, or what it is that you want next. And then there's most likely something that you need to express and speak and communicate about to get it then over to that next level. It may be aligned with truth, and maybe something that you need to clear the air, but I feel like this is most likely something you need to communicate and express to then take it forward and take it to the next level. So I trust this resonates. Thanks so much, Jane, and thanks for your support. Namaste. Okay, let's clear these cards. and see who's next. Welcome everybody. The next person on my healing list is this person, and it is Nicki Mohler. Nicki, please take a nice big breath. Let's get ready to draw a card for you. And I'll kind of reset myself. So the best card for you, Nicki, as we start this connection is, and before I pull the card, I'm already feeling things happening. So there's an energy moving at the front lower part of your sacral chakra here on the right side. So it's like if you brought your right hand down and just tucked it around your belly, just there on the right side. There's something moving here, and it feels like there's a nurturing energy that wants to come through and really nurture and care for and bring love and that nurturing, nourishing energy into your belly. So again, your sacral chakra, which is your emotional center. So there's support coming in. So just hold yourself there if you feel drawn to, Nicki. And I feel like I need to hold you there as well. So holding you in love and support. And your best card, we'll go with this one from deck 2, which is here. Rejuvenation, card 82. So it says physical, emotional and mental rest, repair, reconnect it with nature, meditate, relax, balance, and the state. Your state is important. So how you're coping or how you're going emotionally, mentally and physically is important. We could also add spiritually there as well. So there's support and there's protection also coming in, because when support comes in, it also brings protection naturally. So we can think of the archetype of the mother as that sort of supportive, nurturing, but also protective element too for the child, for the archetype of the child. And also the father energy, the archetype of the father also coming through, and that also brings a different type of nurturing that is also very protective. So this support energy that's coming in, the nurturing that I feel that in some ways you might be thirsty for, Nicki, or really need right now, I feel like it's also important to talk about the protective element that brings, protecting and supporting and nurturing you as you need it. So there's a vulnerability feeling here. So the energy of the sacral chakra, especially at the front, so this is talking about things that are very current now that are playing out in your life. It's quite a vulnerable area, being our emotional center. And there does feel to be an emotional twist, if you like, or an emotional element to the energy that I'm feeling here that feels quite emotional, quite fragile, and in some ways I want to use the word too, like broken in some ways. And actually, as I use that word broken, I can feel this like you being glass and you shattering into like a million pieces, and you've been trying to put the pieces, especially the big shards of glass, you've been trying to put the big pieces back together as best as you can. You've done a mighty amazing job, especially under the circumstances. But I do feel there are tiny little bits and even tiny little slithers, but almost like little tiny pieces that don't even make glass anymore, like dust, that have also manifested from this brokenness. So it's almost like you're a vase and you've just broken, and not just, but you've broken and you've shattered into a million pieces. But it feels, instead of being like pottery, it's more like glass. So it's like glass that's see-through, and I feel like you've tried to mend this vase that's broken with the biggest pieces you can find. That, okay, I can glue this here, I can glue this there, but then there are still big chunks of holes that are missing, which is where all the finer shards or the finer dusty parts have sort of really sort of shattered up. So even though you've been repairing yourself and you've done this in a really mighty way of keeping things together, there still feels like there are some big holes and some whole areas. I feel that there's an area here, just at the back of the left ear, that feels like this is like a void or a hole. There's a hole, and this is connected. What is this connected with? This would be connected with the throat and the third eye chakra, connected around the ear. So this is connected with your intuition and probably your truth and your confidence in being who you are and you might have found that's taken a bit of a hit. There's also a hole, we could say, if you were a vase here at the back side of your right hip, and your right hip especially is about moving forward. So moving forward out of the past. And there's also an area here just sort of to the right under your arm, which is in the zone of your heart chakra. That's connected here as well. There's also at your lower back quite a void or a space as well. And there are other smaller parts around the place. So what I feel now, what are we going to do? Do we find these pieces? I feel like they're almost unrecognizable because a lot of them have crushed into dust. How are we going to patch these areas up? Maybe we need to create some new patches here. Because the whole parts feel very black, so they feel like they're quite black and dark and shadowy and perhaps contain fear and challenge in these holes. And they're sharp. I mean, the edges around the holes are also very sharp. Like if you put your hand there, I feel like you could cut yourself up. So it feels very sharp, this dark energy as well. There's quite a blood feeling too, because I do feel like there's bits that have been cut, like skin that's been cut up. So this tells me that, and cut up by the repair, this tells me that this is most likely connected with the bloodline or something to do with the family. So what I want to do is I'm just going to start patching these holes up. So what I feel, I've got like a clay kind of substance, like a putty, and I'm just going to putty up this area here, this large hole at the back here of your ear, where I feel like there's energy loss. It feels like enthusiasm, motivation, like life force loss, meaning that it's probably hard. There's a draining feeling from this, like it drains your life force kind of thing. So I feel like plugging this back up with this sort of putty. It feels like a neutral sort of color, like a cream sort of color, and just tucking this in. And as I'm doing this, I can feel the nurturing that's coming in, like the care, the almost counter to the sharp shards and the darkness that sort of is felt by what I'm seeing here. So it feels like the opposite. Like this feels putty, it feels soft, it feels it doesn't feel sharp at all. And I feel like I'm just sort of pushing this really gently and lovingly into this hole here to repair this hole where you've been losing energy and draining. It's just draining out. So that feels like it's just tucked in here at the back of your nape of your neck, but on the left side. And then we're going around to this one here at the back of your right hip. And this feels like it's taking energy out from your right leg, which is your ability to continue sometimes, like your motivation even just to get up, and your motivation to go or even continue, that sometimes is really difficult to summon and find. So again, just mixing up some putty, but this feels more like a red brown, and it's not really dark, it's just like a light red brown, and just tucking this in here in this hole and repairing this. And this seems to be doing something to your lower back here. So just extending it around, it feels like there's like almost a crack that comes around there. So just repairing that area as well. And now around to your side. Now this putty's coming in as a real pinky champagne sort of color, and just tucking this in around and repairing this hole. Now these are your biggest holes. There are other small ones around. So let's just tuck in. There's a little hole here at your third eye chakra. So just popping some putty in there, repairing that hole. Also around your ears, both sides, tucking that in. And also down here at your throat. Your heart. Now your heart, what feels to me at your heart is that you've patched and really tried to patch this up, but it's almost like the patterns don't match somehow, like there's a mismatch and probably a discord or a imbalance here in your heart. So what I actually want to do is take one piece out and bring the other piece up and then put that piece back at the bottom, because it just feels like the puzzle, like the pictures don't line up. If you were trying to, if it was a vase and they had a picture, it didn't quite match because the pieces were around the wrong way. So just swap those around, and just using the putty now to sort of seal around those edges. And it feels like it's sealing in like a figure 8 shape around here. And it feels quite tender through here as well. And down here at this lower part of your belly on the right side that I was drawn to at the very beginning, it feels like there's a crack in there, like a gap of a crack. So just tucking this putty in there, and now just running through. So I feel like almost grout. So just running through with this putty on the outside, just to feel any little tiny cracks or holes all over your body, and just helping repair your broken bits, let's say. And I feel this putty is going to help fuse things together for you as well, and all the way down to the bottom of your feet. So this is feeling much better, and this I feel is very nurturing. So there's something very caring and nurturing about this, but also, like I said before, something too I want to emphasize around protective and protection. So it feels like it's protecting you perhaps from, I actually don't know. I feel like this is probably something quite personal, and probably not something literal, like probably not a person or a thing out there, but protecting you from something inside that perhaps surfaces from time to time. It could be like your own shadows or your own fear, but it almost feels like your own fear that's been realized. So it's actually really difficult to clear or move through a fear that has actually happened. You know, like the biggest fear you could imagine, and it happens. Okay, well then that fear kind of is active and alive. What do you do with that? And I sort of feel like in some ways this is armor or a protective shield to help protect you and help you cope with and deal with your biggest fear that's actually manifest, and how you cope and how you manage that and how you work your way through that, so that the fear that is manifest, so that doesn't take over as a darkness within you. So I almost feel now like this glass or this vase that we've just repaired, like this is your armor. This is your armor of protection against that fear, because it feels like the fear, I mean, you give the fear a little bit of leeway or a little bit of space and just a little bit of doubt that we might have, and the fear kind of takes over. So if that fear is there and it wants to take over, but the fear is actually manifest in your life as something, as that fear manifests, your worst nightmare that's actually happened, then that fear will really, really take hold. So I think this is also helping allow a bit of distance between you and this fear, so it doesn't keep taking hold, and you can work out how to manage and protect yourself through this. And maybe it's through care and self-nurturing, so that that fear can sort of step back. So that's what I'm feeling. I trust this makes sense for you, Nikki. Let's grab a card and see what this wants to add here at this point. And the best card for you is this. It's from deck 1. Doesn't matter if it's upside down, and it's spiritual surgery. Okay, this is interesting, and even just the image of this, if this is you, this is a being around you, and I feel like this is a being around you protecting you as you heal. And it's like it's creating a barrier, a protection around you, like almost like it's sentient, like it's alive. And then inside you're healing. So inside, while you're vulnerably working through what you've been going through, this barrier, this protective layer is helping potentially keep that fear and the outside negativity, let's say, at bay, so that you can work on the healing that needs to happen. And that's what this is about, deep healing in your body. So you are protected and safe, and maybe think about how you can really nurture yourself more, Nikki. So thank you so much, and I trust this supports you, and thanks for your support. Thanks, Nikki. Okay, let's grab a quick drink. How's everyone doing? So nice and sunny here. It's beautiful. It's a nice room to sit in, actually, this time of the day. Next person, so I've got 3 more people, and this is the third, is Susan Sonsteng. So Susan, please take a nice big breath. And if you'd like to be part of this healing connection next month, I do these at the end of each month for my patrons. Please have a look on the link that's in the description of this video to my Patreon. And the $50 level or higher gives you access to this resource. For next month, if you're interested, you can join anytime, and you can cancel anytime as well. So Susan, nice big breath, and the best card for you, I'll get it in a second. The best card for you, Susan, is this from the first deck, and it's this Mental Emergence. I love this card, card 10, and it feels like something wants to push through, but on a real mental level. It says awareness, be conscious of your thoughts, sit with your thoughts and allow the supportive ones to come to the forefront. Solution and determination. So there is a pull forward here with this card, and a pull forward on a mental level. In fact, I can feel a pull forward here with your head. So with your mental, your mind energy is the area of your aura around your head. That's how I see it to be. And I feel like your mind energy is pulling you forward. So it feels to me like there must be new ideas, inspirations, and intentions and thoughts, and perhaps goals that you're setting that are really pulling you forward on a mental level. Pulling you forward into what? What are you stepping into? I feel like I want to look down. It feels like there's something very grounded, something very physical that you're wanting to pull forward into and create in your life, or build in your life, or bring into your life as part of your life now. And it feels very physical. So it could be objects or things that you're building or making that will be tangible and something that you can actually touch and potentially use. So I feel like it almost feels like head down, work hard, put the effort in, and keep and set those clear intentions, and keep following and backing those intentions with action, because action is the key. I mean, we can have all the ideas in the world, and if we're not backing them with action, then, I mean, what's the point? So, like some people are talkers, they're not really doers. So if you can, or if we can look at how we can balance that talking or the ideas that we have, and not just talk about them, but actually see how we can bring them into form and see how we can manifest those in our life. Because I feel like this will be a real, if this is something that you are doing, Susan, I feel like this is really beneficial for you to give you a focus, because it feels like a real strong focus, something to wake up for, something that drives you, something that brings life forward for you, something to look forward to. And that's huge. And with that effort and that hard work that you're putting in, this is fantastic. There's a lot of energy too moving around your feet, and your feet area is this is the area for grounding, also steps that you take in your life, but very much grounding in the physical. So there's a lot of energy that's pulling down into your feet from the rest of your body. So this is actually grounding your ideas into reality and into the physicality, so that they become something through action. They become something through the effort that you put in to bring them into form. So your feet also feel like they're helping bring balance to your body, and they're drawing energy down through your body evenly on both sides. So it's a bit like, so if you came to a workshop with me and we were, say, doing meditation, or we were doing something fairly physical, and I got you to stand up, then I'd be getting you to stand up, probably close your eyes, and then feel the weight of your body being evenly distributed on both legs, on both feet. So there's this feeling here, as I connect with your feet here, Susan, that there's this even distribution of energy and weight on both sides that wants to come in, and that helps bring a balance to the left and the right sides, which is really important actually for maintaining our balance on an everyday level. So your feet very much balanced on both sides, and just bringing the weight or the energy distribution to those evenly, and feeling that support of your feet, as your feet support you and hold you as you walk forward into your life and into your future. You might even want to rub your feet or give them a massage, soak them in a nice salty hot water or something, just to sort of care and nurture for your feet and really bring your attention to those and all the energy that they're bringing down. So they're pulling down the energy in your body, which is actually very grounding. So there's a lot of grounding energy that's coming through, and that strong physicality, practicality element as well. There's energy also moving down your spine. So as the energy, it's almost like at your feet, like they're a vacuum, and they're vacuuming down or pulling down, sucking down all the energy down into your feet, which then sort of packs up. So if your body was an empty cylinder, the energy gets drawn down to the bottom of the empty cylinder first, where your feet are, and then it sort of stacks up or fills up that empty cylinder of your body. So it's being drawn down, and I feel the energy at your lower, at your spine, especially the lower areas from about your middle back down to your tailbone. That's also got that pull down feeling as you're being grounded through your spine as well. You might find that there are a lot of physical things, or some physical things that you're doing at the moment, or physical things you're involved with that are very much focused around your survival. It could even be connected with health, the roof over your head, your finances. Things that are very survival based can also pull you down in your body into those more physical areas, which is a good thing, because I really feel like this is that grounded element that helps anchor you. So there's this balance then between that pull forward, your intentions and your goals, and that groundedness, which means that helps bring weight to that, those energies of your ideas and inspirations. So this feels good, feels very good, Susan. Let's grab a card and see what this wants to add here at this point. So the best card to add here is this from the first deck here, Heaven on Earth. And this really confirms what I was just talking about. Card 44, it's in the depth category. Down here it says balance. So this is balance, which I have talked about in regards to your feet, so left and right sides. But I also feel a balance really between the upper energies and the lower energies, meaning like spiritual, physical. So there's a balance too on the vertical as well as the horizontal, which is that left and right sort of side. So balance, depth of meaning. So looking for depth in things, depth in life. Really that's to be found in the physical, a lot of that. Coming together, bringing the formless into form, which is what I was talking about. That's basically manifesting your ideas. Love, access to higher frequencies. Living it, that's grounding. Being it, that's grounding. And union, bringing these energies together. So it feels to me like you're probably in a pretty good space, Susan, at this time. And this is all feels like it's just potentially maybe defining it a little bit more clearer, what's going on energetically, and helping give you perhaps a focal point or some point of reference or point of access. It almost feels like a point through a doorway, so going through like a gateway into the next phase, or like an initiation sort of portal sort of energy that's also pulling you forward. So just keep trusting in what's pulling you. Make sure it makes sense to you, and that you can bring it into your life in a relatively, I don't know if easy is quite the right word, but a realistic way. Not everything's going to be easy, but some things are so pie in the sky, unrealistic, that it's not funny. So just making sure that you find that balance that works for you. So that feels good. Thanks, Susan. I trust this resonates and supports you. Namaste. And thank you for your support. Okay, next. So 2 more people here. Next person is Carol White. Carol, I have a little giggle because the last person who's still coming brought to my attention last month that they always seem to be coming after Carol. So it's going to happen again this month, it seems. So Carol, please take a nice big breath. Oops, I just dropped half the deck, so let's just get those back here. Take a nice big breath and let's see what comes up for you today. So I can feel a showering of energy coming down from above. It feels like a shower of golden light, but it's all in particles, so it's more like stardust, or yeah, probably like golden stardust, or if snow was like golden, it will be maybe a little bit soft like that, and in sort of snowflake, sort of that sort of feeling. But here's your card. It's Untangling, card 60. This is interesting. It says sort out the tangle, or what's a mess in your life, what's all tangled up. It says clear the knots, anxiety, complication, acknowledge what might be a tangled mess, a solution, potential, and freedom exists. So this is like the tangling, or it's representing or highlighting that there's a tangling of something. Something feels a bit tangled. Something feels a bit complicated or a bit overwhelming or a bit messy at this time. And this card is highlighting the untangling of that. So, you know, when I think of my kids, especially my son who didn't know how to tie up shoelaces for quite some time, he'd just kind of go like that with his shoelace, and then of course I've got to try and untangle this mess of a knot. And you know, it takes patience when we're untangling things like knots, whether it's a literal knot or messy things in our life. It requires patience to untangle, and there's always a way of untangling. Like even if a rope ends up getting tangled, there's always a way, if you're patient, that you can figure out and untangle that rope. It's a bit different with something like fishing line, because that's probably something where you just kind of got to cut the knot out and start again. And sometimes that happens too in life, where we've just got to sort of shut the door or close the door, or cut ties, cut that knot out and go, right, I've got to start again. This is too much. This is not worth it, or it's not able to be untangled. But some things are. So do you want to untangle this mess, or do you need to cut this knot out? And I feel like that's probably part of a decision perhaps that's required at this time for you, Carol, is do you cut your ties, or do you be patient and see this through and work out this bit of a mess or this bit of a tangled situation at this time? So it feels like decision time to decide, what do you want to or need to cast aside, and what do you want to put effort into and patience into, to what do you care about? You know, sometimes we care about things, things are important in our life, and then we get to a point where it's like, you know, I don't really care that much anymore about this, so I'm just going to put that aside. You know, my time with that thing has, and it's not usually a person, hopefully. I guess it could be at times, but, you know, we might close that door. So is it something that you're willing to put time and effort into? Is it something that you care about? And you know, are you caring enough about it to put time and effort into it, or are you not really caring that much anymore, and it's time to close that door? So that's probably another way of looking at this. And it does feel like there's a bit of a divide in front of you. It feels like there's a bit of a fork in the road at this time for you, Carol. So like you could go that way or you could go that way, and it does feel like there is this split in your path that's coming up, or that you're standing at right now. I feel like it's very close if it's not here now, because I feel like I keep wanting to look over here and I want to look over here, and I feel like this is two paths, and the two hypothetical paths in some way, because I feel like you can sort of imagine yourself going down that path and imagine yourself going down that path, and you can imagine and you can run through the scenarios in your mind first before you decide which path to take, because it feels like they're almost like phantoms, these paths before you, like they're phantoms that are coming out of your mind, like projecting out somehow. And even though these are potential possibilities, they don't feel grounded in reality yet. So it's probably more like scenarios that you're playing out in your mind. What should I follow? What should I do? Which path do I take? What do I care about? And what do I not care about? You know, where do I want to go? I keep leaning over to this path here on the left, I must say, that is stronger than the right path. And I feel that there is something pulling over here, and it feels quite sunny on this side, like the sun, the warmth. There's a warmth here and a life force and a confidence and a power that the sun brings that almost pulls you over to this way, to this path over here. And I can feel as this path feels stronger, and I've been talking about it, I can feel the body now is wanting to lean into here. So there might be something that you really are juggling and really contemplating at the moment, but I do feel it's probably quite black and white. You know, do I do this, yes or no? You know, there's a yes or no feeling, door closed, door open sort of feeling. It's like black and white here. So once you decide, then I feel like that will also help clarify things for you, like bring a focus for you on like a clarity that's going to help you know exactly what to do moving forward, because you have a decision that you've made. So it could be things, something up in the air, and you're contemplating which is the best attitude or way to go. So it just feels like it brings clarity, really. And that does then untangle that mess, especially if it's a mental kind of mess, mental tangle, and helps bring a solution, which then also brings clarity. And with clarity also comes confidence. So there is that strength then that's highlighted from the symbol of the sun, a strength to then pull forward. So you probably feel a surge of confidence as you follow that path that feels that you want to hone in on, that feels clearer. So aside from that, everything feels good, Carol. So let's grab a card here to add here. And the best card is, it's this. Another one from deck 2. And it's, oh yes, new power rising. So this is highlighting that energy that I've just been talking about. In fact, it feels a bit like a sun, this cute little tiger's head. It's in the rise category. And down here it says, you are the conqueror of obstacles. Bravery, a tough situation has made you stronger. Resilience, responsibility, true power, and momentum building. And I really like that, actually. The momentum building in the path that you decide to go down, or the slight shift in focus that you decide to take, that gives you more of that sense of responsibility and power, but also this momentum that builds as you flow down that path and follow that path. So that's awesome. Card 60 and card 70. So thanks, Carol. I trust that resonates and supports you. Thanks for your support. Okay, let's pop these cards back, grab a drink. And lucky last is KantiDevi Wedad. Take a nice big breath for me, Kanti, and let's see which card is coming up for you today. Okay, so before I pull the card, I'm feeling that things have sort of taken a turn or taken a shift. It feels like a jolt to the side, which feels a little unnatural and a little jarring on the body, and it feels like the shift or the jolt to the side is very much focused on the hips. So it's like a jolt or a shift in direction that feels quite sudden and perhaps even quite surprising, maybe even a little shocking in some ways. I think shock may be an extreme word to use, but in some ways perhaps it has been a little bit of a shock. But there's just been this kind of sudden jarring movement to the side. That's certainly not your direction, a little bit or a lot. That's what I'm feeling at the moment. Let's just grab a card here and then we'll look further into that. So you've got the Soul Chakras card, card 2, and it says balance, ground, anchor your ideas and healing, and change into your life and body, and your feet may require some attention. So this is highlighting a grounded feeling. In fact, Kanti, you may want to, and perhaps have already been, stepping out bare feet outside, because I feel like this is going to help you ground and come to terms with the jarring shift and the jarring push that's pushed you off to the side. And because it sort of feels like things were traveling along a certain path and then something shifted and something, you know, it almost feels energetically like a truck came and just kind of crashed into you and jolted you to the side. and sort of knocked you off the path that you thought you were taking. So the path that we think we're taking, we sort of send out these intentions and plans perhaps, and we have this sort of kind of idea of a rough or maybe clear or a combination of both idea or way that our path looks, and we might be traveling along that quite okay and just dealing with things as they come up, and then something can sort of shock or surprise or jolt us out of that. And it does feel like you're traveling on your path, and this sort of truck comes and energetically just hits you and slams on the brakes and just knocks you off to the side, and then suddenly you're off that path. And then you've got to come to terms with that, because that requires, or that in fact can be quite a grieving period. As we know, when we've lost someone and our plans change, or things change in our life, in our relationships, and the way we thought we were going seems to suddenly change, we can have this sort of grief period where we grieve the future that we know that we're not going to have now, that a part of us was sort of looking forward to or had kind of worked out. So there is a grief element with this that's coming in, a grief for what was on that path, and also a grounded feeling as you're now having to ground yourself in a way that took you by surprise, as best as you can. So working on your grounding and bare feet around feels like it's probably really nourishing for you, but also just being really patient with yourself as you find yourself in this new sort of place, almost like your timeline has just shifted. And then you're trying to perhaps set some new paths or new plans or new intentions for where you see your life going. And some of those things you had on that old path, you could probably bring over and transfer to this new path, a new trajectory that you're facing at this time. But there are going to be some things that you can't bring over, and there are going to be some new things that also come over too. So it's also like a recalibration of figuring out where things fit, where things are placed, and how you want things to be or not be moving forward. And plus, if you're sort of in between things, and this jolt has actually put you into a place of transition, you might not know where you're going yet. You might not know what's ahead. You may not know like your living situation, for example. So all of this can be very unsettling. So the strongest energy I feel really drawn to right now is grounding. And I feel this energy that's coming in and pulling you down into the earth. It's like, let's say like in the middle of the earth, there's a vacuum and like a pull sort of feeling, and the pull is kind of pulling you from the soles of your feet and all up through your body, and just kind of pulling you down a little bit into the earth. It's just to help lock you into your body and lock you into the ground and lock you into this present moment, which is where that grounding is as well. I feel like I want to bring your feet together like this and bring yourself together, because this jarring feeling feels like it can sort of rip and create a separation inside. So I feel like bringing your feet together is also part of helping bring you back together. Bring your feet together, bring your hips together, bring your shoulders together. This feels important, and this helps bring you back together again, instead of feeling like your part of you's here and part of you's there and you're all over the place. So this split feeling, so bringing you back together again. So with your feet together, your knees together, your hips together, and your hips are aligned so that they're in parallel with your feet, sort of where your feet are pointing forward and your hips are aligned with that. Your shoulders aligned with this as well, and your chin and your head looking straight ahead in the direction that your feet are pointing. So helping you move forward wherever that will be. And you might feel like you're on a bit of a spinning disc at the moment. You still don't know where you're going to step off into, and that's okay. Just focus on where your the balance and the groundedness of your body. And if you feel like things are spinning, it's not going to spin forever. So at some point the spinning's going to stop, or you'll be able to step off the spinning disc, and then you have more clarity of the path that you're moving forward, or the path that you're actually on. So at the moment you might feel like you're in a bit of a storm, and the aim is to try and find the eye in the storm, where you can find your center and align back with yourself again and return those split parts back into one. So bringing the pieces back together again. And this feels like prime, or at least energetically at this time, like prime priority at this time. And you might grieve a bit of the past and you just bring yourself back into balance again. You might worry because you don't know what the future holds. Well, you just bring yourself back into balance again. And you just look at the reality of your breath, your body, this moment, where you find yourself now, and the things that you can be grateful for in your life now. You know, there might be things that you missed from before or things you don't know what's going to happen next, but you know, you might have a night, hopefully you've got a comfortable bed to sleep in, you've got food to eat, you've got clothes, warm clothes to wear, or cool clothes if it's summer. And you can enjoy the sunshine, you can enjoy the birds, you can enjoy some creating. You know, there are things that you can enjoy in the here and now that are not future based. And I feel this is a way that you're coming back to yourself and bringing the parts, the opposing parts in some ways, like the masculine, feminine, the yin, the yang, you're bringing these together. So this is in fact an opportunity for you to bring these parts of yourself together in this really concentrated way before you step off that disc and into the next chapter of your journey, in the chapter of your life. And so grounding is what I would really be focusing on, Kanti, for you in these next few days at least, if that resonates. So thank you. Let's grab a card and see what this wants to add here as we finish off. And the best card is, we'll go with this card from the second deck. Here, offering, card 80. Card 80, offering. It's in the rest category, and you actually had this card, I'm pretty sure, come up in something we did recently. So this is that soft energy, this is that feminine energy, and she probably requires nurturing and care at this time as she reunites with that masculine energy within you. It says here, love, blessings, relationships, support, gentleness, softening harsh situations, and really such situations you've got no control over. Accept the offering and do the offering. So maybe both. Maybe you're accepting and doing at the same time. Opening, gift, blessings and beauty. So this is something being offered to you and you're being asked or encouraged, or you have the choice whether you want to accept that or not. That soft energy that wants to come through and soften your grief and soften that hard energy and your need to be in control, and just really trust in where you are now and where you find your feet in the moments that are unfolding before you. You're not going to be on this spinning disc forever. So, but I do feel this is an opportunity for you to put into practice what you've been learning, especially in regards to the masculine and the feminine within you. So, and that's what this is really, the masculine, the feminine. Each foot, each side of our body represents those aspects. So this is them coming together. This is you united as one with yourself. Soul chakras. This is the union, if you like, of, or the essence of your soul is being those aspects of masculine, feminine combined together, the yin yang combined together, not separate, not this and that, but together, united as one. So even though it feels jarring and it feels uncomfortable, this is great opportunity for you, Candy, to really put your theory into practice and to really go deeper into the relationship between your masculine and feminine energies. So I trust that supports you, and thank you so much for your support. Namaste. Okay, so thank you everybody for connecting today. I do trust you found something helpful if you haven't been on the list, and if you would like to be next time, please check out the link in the description. Have a great day, and I'll connect with you again soon. In fact, I think we've got now next healing event on Thursday for the healing list event for more of my patrons. So I might connect with you then. Take care and have a great day. Bye for now.